Hello there everybody and welcome to part 2 of me and GWVIllager's favourite liveries. This time we are focusing on train liveries, specifically train liveries in the United Kingdom.
Indeed we are. Yes, it's we're back again. The buses, it was a very interesting one. There are plenty that I didn't see. The thing with trains is that there are far fewer liveries. So I expect there'll be a lot more overlap. But equally, there's a lot more controversy. And people tend to have far stronger opinions about what they think looks good on the rails. So it'll be interesting to see what we agree and disagree on here.
Certainly, yeah. I think that makes it very a lot more interesting, and plus I'm more into trains than buses. And I've seen way more train liveries than I have with bus liveries. So I'm probably not going to be as shocked as, get a random transdev jump scare or anything like that. So, just to clarify, as we said last time, neither of us know our options. We don't know.
Well, we know what ours are, but we don't know each other's.
Yeah, exactly. We neither of us know each other's. We are completely blind, as you, the viewer, would be. And that makes this more interesting, otherwise it'll be kind of boring.
Yeah.
Now, I started last time with my number 5. But I think it'd be fun if you start this time. So we're going to go through our best 5 first, then our worst 5. So we'll go back and forth as we did before. You go first.
Right. My 5 best, my 5th favourite train livery over the past 20 years might be a surprise.
Go ahead.
It's Thameslink.
Yeah. Oh, it's the that version of Thameslink, not the previous Thameslink.
No, yeah, the existing current version of Thameslink.
Oh,
okay. I like it. It's plain, obviously, but it's simple and striking in a good way. It conveys, I think, a good sort of representation of what the service is. It's quite, well, in theoretically it should be clean. It's not particularly snazzy, but it does the job. It looks modern and attractive. There's not much to it, but I think it actually does the job very well.
Honestly, when you word it like that, Thameslink isn't that bad. I mean, well, okay, the company has got something to say about the company and the trains and their services, but the livery, even applied to like the 700s, I think I like it as well. Although not enough to put it in my top 10 version, but I like that too. Plus, I think the blue doors make it help a lot.
Yeah.
Alright. That's actually kind of, your opposite number 5 is kind of interesting, because my number 5 is slightly related. Again, slightly. And I do apologise for the image that I will be using, because it's not the best for showcasing the image but delivery, but I don't really care. Number 5 for me, it's First Capital Connect.
Okay.
So for my reason why I like this livery, I really like seeing First Capital Connect trains passing from the side, because the sort of dashes and, well, I don't know what they're supposed to even represent, like cities? Maybe like a city skyline?
It looks a bit like that with the sort of neon lighting.
Yeah, neon was the word I was looking for, yeah. When that train passes by the side and it moves up and down, almost like the thing on like a hi-fi, the visuals on a hi-fi machine. It looks like that, and I found that really cool. And I just think that I really like how that looks. Obviously,
it's an urban form of dynamic lines.
Yeah, very. It gives a very urban feel to an urban train company, which also isn't that good. But we're not focusing on the livery or even how dirty it. We are focusing on the livery. What am I talking about? We're focusing on the operator, not focusing on the operator. We're just focusing on if the livery itself is good, and I think this is worthy of my number 5 spot. So please go with your number 4.
Well, I will just say on First Capital Connect, I think it looked really good on the 377s.
Oh, goodness, I forgot to say, yeah.
Necessarily much else.
I think it definitely looked best on the 377s. I will agree on that.
Yeah. Okay, right, my number 4. This one probably won't be much of a surprise. Transpennine Express. It is again, striking is a good word to use, but the lines and the proportions are very, very satisfying. It suits pretty much every train I've seen it in, and has aged incredibly well. It's difficult to think that this is, 7 or 8 years old. Still looks very fresh and modern, and portrays, again, the theoretical ideal of what TPE should be. Obviously, it doesn't deliver that in reality, but it looks like a fast, modern express service. and that's exactly what you want.
It is a very, very good livery, and honestly, when you compare that to my number 4, I think I'm actually going to overwrite my current number 4 and just replace it with Transplant Express. Stop that. I've changed my mind, because now when I can see it on the 68 a bit better now, oh yeah, definitely just. I'll say that
The
my
colour's
4.
good.
Yeah, the colours definitely look. I really like the colours.
It looks stylish.
And
They complement each other well.
Yeah, I really like this. I really like Transplant Express. I might as well say that my number 4 was going to be Southeastern, but more specifically specifically the one on the 465.
Ooh, okay.
I was going to go with that.
Wow, that was a surprising one there.
Yeah, because I really like the navy dark blue stripe and the blue doors, but putting that next to Transplant Express, I feel like is like almost insulting, if anything. Like, insultingly bad in terms of the differences, so I'm gonna rescind my number 4 and just stick it with yours as well. Just change my mind, stuff it. I don't care.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. I'm not a big fan of that Southeastern livery myself, but each their own.
I mean, plus it also indirectly shortens the time.
Yeah.
So, we can just jump into number 3 then, because I'm gonna...
Number 3?
Yeah, go ahead, you're
okay.
number 3, please.
Right. It's the First Great Western Fag Packer livery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I completely forgot about that. I've been using it a lot in Train Simulator as well in the past. So
really? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it exists, fortunately.
Well, yeah. It is a livery that existed. Yeah, I think it looks good. The colours are complementary. It's very much of its time. I don't know if it would really work today. In fact, it would look very dated.
It would look dated today, but I think, carry on.
Certainly for its time, it did look quite stylish. The colours, as I said, very complementary. And it was certainly much better, certainly much more restrained and mature than the first Barbie that came after it.
Yeah, I agree with reluctance for some reason. Don't know why. Why was I reluctant in responding to that? I agree.
Yeah, the first Barbie livery wasn't too bad, but when you compare it to this looks far more attractive as an intercity livery.
Definitely, yeah. When you put it to like that, yes, I agree. I think it's a pretty good looking intercity livery, and I really like the gold stripe along the edge.
Yes,
definitely. I really like
It's a shame that First went into a period of, we'll only have a corporate livery and nothing else.
Yeah,
and then they kind of left it again about 2015, but they're slowly going back towards, we'll have one livery for everything.
Yeah. Yes, they sort of go back and forth. Honestly, I do actually remember this livery growing up when I was younger. A little bit, because we used to use Reading Station quite a lot in the past, and I hated the sound of the Valentas because they were way too loud. I had to cover my ears as they lifted. But still, a very wise choice. I 100% respect that. So, my number 3, the one, as I said earlier, I was having a bit mixed feelings on myself, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm a bit of a sucker for green in some aspects, and it's another green livery. I give you London Midland.
Ooh, okay, good choice.
Thank you very much for that. I really like the colours they use with London Midland, and they applied it to pretty much the livery was like obviously applied to their entire fleet with this sort of style. There wasn't like any other major styles of London Midland, which I think really helps. Just ease like central to make the brand feel a little bit more central. If that's the way is that the best way to describe it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean standardised.
Yeah, standardised is the better word to use. Thank you very much for correcting my English again. I just think it's a really good looking livery with the colours, the different shades of green, the black surrounds around the doors, yellow front makes the train visible, just stuff like that. I really like it. I think it's a really nice looking livery.
Yeah, well, it was a best impressions design livery, and they're generally pretty good at making liveries. Yeah, and they're good at making them fit pretty much whatever train goes in them. And London Midland certainly excels. Perhaps is the best example on Britain's rail network of a livery that suits any train. But
I completely forgot about that. Yes.
I'm personally not its #1 fan. I think it's maybe a little messy, and I would like to see some more variation between different service types. As sure, it's kind of nice to have standardization, but London Midland operated a huge number of different services,
They did.
and it can be kind of difficult to tell what train is what from a glance.
I
But
can understand,
yeah, no, it's
yeah.
good livery, and it is attractive, and I think its main strength is that it works on anything.
Agreed. So, your number 2, if I counted correctly?
Number 2.
Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead,
number
number 2,
2.
please.
Okay, this one is a real fan favourite, and for good reason, GNER.
Oh crap, I forgot about you! Oh, how did I forget about that? Again, we were talking about it in the stream! Okay, well, yeah, GNER is a very, very good livery. I think
it was.
It looks great.
It was very ahead of its time. It's really hard to believe that this livery entered service in 1996.
I
It's-
know, wow.
It looks so modern. It has aged fantastically well. In fact, it looks more modern than most liveries in service today, particularly with that logo.
I agree. I
It
mean,
was
No, you first. Sorry. No, you go on.
it was a perfect balance between sort of modernity and simplicity and traditional colours and general heraldry. It felt like what, not the privatiser, but it felt like what the 21st century railway should be, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean by that. I really just like how realistically the only change the livery went through over its years was just colouring the doors red. That is pretty much the only thing they changed. Otherwise, they kept it as it is for until 2007 when they got kicked out.
Well, yeah, and then they replaced the red stripe with the really horrendous white one for National Express.
Yeah.
But actually, GNER Blue stayed around as late as 2014. I think that was when the last Class 91 was repainted out of it.
Yeah, they definitely took their time repainting it, and I could definitely tell that the painters weren't happy getting rid of it.
No, it was a nice livery. Though there was one other change. I think the first few applications had the GNER logo in white.
Oh, okay, that was on my mind as well. I just remembered that.
Yeah, but from I think 1999 they switched them over to yellow.
Yeah, no,
But,
that's definitely one of those age-old facts. I just remembered off the top of my head.
I don't mean to go on too long about this, but actually a huge variety of trains are painted in GNER livery. I mean, of course, there was the Eurostar. But they also had a Class 89 that's painted in GNER, Class 90, and a huge amount went into it. And they all look good in it.
I think that helps a livery. If the majority, or at least all the majority of their fleet looks good in a livery, then I think a livery is good, which neatly segues into my option, which is why I picked this livery. And I've heard people don't like it, and to that I say, I don't care, I'm the one making the video, I'm the one with the microphone. Number 2 for me, I give you National Express East Anglia. Or National Express full stop. I'm sorry, I love this livery. I'm one of those people who loves this livery. When I saw this livery, I thought, wow, that actually looks pretty cool. I should also say, I'm speaking of the versions with grey surrounds near the ends of the train, or at least in the case of this image, I'm using the 317. There's some other ones which we'll talk about much later. But I love this livery. I think it fits every single train that National Express had. I loved it on the 91s. Well, the 91, the one.
Yeah,
91,
the one 91, yeah.
I loved it on the HST sets. I think that looked cool. And the 90s. And I am really, really miffed that they didn't paint it on the 170s. Fortunately, there is somebody on Train Simulator who has done a reskin of this livery onto it, which I'll quickly share a picture of it to you right now.
Ooh, that looks good. That does look good.
See what I mean? I'll accept.
Yeah.
I mean, some people will obviously have their crumbs with delivery, and to be honest, it's perfectly reasonable. But I think it really suits the trains they applied on now, especially with the dashes at the top towards the front. I really like that. It looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, those dots I think do make the livery, but funnily enough, I also have a microphone, and I am one of those people who just don't like the livery. I think I do quite like, in principle, the idea of that sort of slash line that repeats between coaches. However, for some reason, the National Express one just looks cheap. I think the colours are really weird. I don't quite know how to describe it. It just doesn't really work, doesn't look coherent. It looks a little like they designed it in a studio and didn't really think about it before applying it. Yeah, I mean, that's just my personal view, but I think it looked okay when new. I really liked how it looked on the HSTs, but the East Coast livery looked better, and I'm not aware of any train that the National Express livery is the best one it's ever been in.
Well, I liked how it looked like on the 156, and I think that has... Well, if I'm using this train simulator image as an example, I think it might have had a different shade of grey. So maybe the shade of grey at the front might have been the issue, question mark?
Yeah, I mean, that 170 you showed in Train Sim, the colours do look slightly different, and it looks much better like that.
Okay, when you word it like that, yeah.
Because the grey of the body side is slightly darker, and the sort of blue-grey at the front end is a little more washed out. It complements each other much better, whereas if you look at the real photo, it seems really harsh, doesn't it, that contrast, and it's not very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, I can sort of see what you mean by that. I still like the livery, though, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, each their own. Each
their own. Well, you're not gonna, it's not worthy of a breakup, that's for sure. Well, now that we know that, then, what's your favourite train livery? Please, show us
My
yours.
favourite? I don't know if you'll be aware of this one.
Well, I've seen every train almost.
Well, it's a one-off. It was the Class 802, I think, in Lily's Kitchen advertising livery.
Oh, that one. I've seen it before,
Yeah.
but although not in the flesh, but I've at least seen it.
I have seen it in the flesh. It was a temporary livery. It was only around for a few months. It doesn't exist anymore, but I think it looked really, really good. Somehow, the colours, well, not somehow, clearly they've got a really good designer who's come up with it. It's very complicated, but it works. It feels coherent. The colours are beautifully chosen. It really suits the profile of the train, and it's very charming, isn't it? It really... It's
someone's like kitchen down the road or something? I've never heard of Lily's Kitchen.
They like make pet food.
Oh no, my cat.
So you can see
that.
there's a cat there on the side. If you have a look.
Yeah, I can see it just about.
And then the kind of idea was that you see the ears on the front of the train. They tried to turn it into a sort of cat. I think.
They tried. They really tried.
They tried. I mean, I'm not a fan when sort of liveries try and make the train into an animal. And that is, I think, the one detracting feature of the livery. But the general colour scheme, the general artwork, the colours, again, the colours look so good. It's a wonderful livery, and really, I think, brings out the best in the trains. And unfortunately, the GWR livery just looks really bland and dead in comparison.
When you word it like that, I can see what you mean, honestly. I can see your reasoning. It does make sense. I mean, when it comes to making a train look like an animal or a creature or anything, I think Japan pretty much nukes us in this aspect, indirectly.
They do. And again, I don't really like it when they do that, but I can get over it in this case because it's not very obvious that they were trying to do it.
True, it's more like a little subtle thing, like a very subtle spice.
Yeah, but again, the shading, it works. It's a wonderful livery. It is a colour. They stand out so well. I'd love to have seen a whole train in it.
Yeah, well, sadly, money. They would have probably bankrupted Lily's Kitchen in advertising alone.
Probably did, yeah.
I hope they're still around, though, because that's still pretty nice.
I believe they are, yeah.
Alright,
that's
good. Alright, well, for my number one, absolutely no guesses as to why I'm legally required to pick this. It's Eurostar. No contest. I think it's arguably the best train livery out there, especially at least when it comes to modern liveries. I mean, if I was to probably dig around, I could probably argue and say Intercity looks better, but we're not really factoring that that's a bit too far back, honestly. for our list. But I think when it comes to does it give the wow factor? Does this make me go wow? Yes, it does. Colors, some of my favorite colors. I love blue. I love the yellow. I love the yellow stripe. I love that. I love it on the bottom, and it just slowly rises. It's just small little things. I love that. I love the color of the doors. I love the color of the nose. I love everything about it.
I think the thing with the Eurostar livery, it doesn't look that good in photos, but in person, it looks amazing.
That's a special thing about it, definitely.
It's really awe-inspiring. I mean, to see all the Eurostars lined up in this livery, it's got to be one of the best sights in the world, really. I think it's such a shame they've got rid of that E logo. It looked good, and it suited the livery.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, this livery is probably on borrowed time. The Eurostar rebrand is likely to get a new one. But
really? What would they change it to? Because I thought they were just going to change the logo. I mean, Eurostar.
Yeah, well, that's what they've done, but I don't believe that. I struggle to believe that they're going to carry on with two completely different liveries that were designed for a completely different brand.
Well, logically, I would imagine what they would do for the Metalis lads would be to put them in a similar livery as to this, but make it red, because they still class them as different brands, like Eurostar Red and Eurostar Blue. So they still. I
think they'll keep the red. Though interestingly, when I went on Eurostar just a few weeks ago, that was last week even, and they were using kind of red uniforms too. Not entirely. They're clearly mixing and matching the red and the blue. And I saw on some Talis trains they were using kind of blue Eurostar uniforms. I don't know what's going on, but my guess is that they eventually intend to have one completely unified brand. And even if they don't, at least one livery that just has different colours. I doubt this livery is going to stay around for much longer, but oh well. We'll wait and see.
Well, by the power of colour science, I would imagine then they'd end up going with purple. Well, you know, that's my guess. Okay.
EMI Eurostar.
That could be kind of. Yeah. We'll have to see what the future holds for that. So, now that we've gone over our favourite liveries, now it's time to go over our least favourite liveries. So, you first, again, since we started, since on buses when I did it first, you go first. What's your number 5 least favourite livery, please?
My 5th least favourite livery is kind of more associated with the actual brand in general, but it's the new Arriva Northern livery.
I see.
It's very, very drab. Oh my word. Like, sure, in isolation, taken in isolation, doesn't look that bad, but in practice, that's not selling a train, is it? You don't see that and think, wow, what a fantastic method of travel. Can't wait to get on board. You look at it and think, it looks like a kind of really stripped down sort of service that no one actually wants to run, but they're just doing it anyway. It's clearly cheap. The colours don't make much sense. Why is there so much white? It doesn't work. It looks ugly and doesn't sell the product.
I can agree on that in a way, honestly, because I mean, I think I've always been sort of ambivalent with this livery. I didn't really have much of an opinion of it. Like, it didn't make me sick, but at the same time, it doesn't. Oh, you know, jokes about the North aside, it doesn't want to make me ride the train, assuming it turns up.
And the old Northern livery was better.
I can agree on that as well, yeah. I remember I asked Major Wales to put this livery on the Pacer, which I'll put it up on the screen now, but I'll show you after the streaming. But I asked him to put this livery on the Pacer in Train Simulator, and you know, it's not really. Let's just say, thank goodness it never took off.
I'll take your word with that.
Yeah, so I'm too lazy to go and find it now. So
that's believable. That's believable.
Yeah. Number 5 for me, sort of. For me, yeah, I'd say it's a similar reason, but I think it's also more laziness, if anything. I'm gonna pick Malumo.
Really?
Because it's boring! And all they did is, I like blue. I really like blue. So what they did is, we make whole train blue. You gonna do anything else?
They went into Microsoft Paint and got the color fill button and just clicked glue.
Yeah, they did that. Dulux, the guys at Dulux were really happy, but that's all they did. That's all it did. It's just
Look at
so
this idea, they're just
boring.
painting the train using Jupiter.
Well, that's my first. I usually just think of like the first paint brand that comes to my head. And how can you not like the Dulux dog? Come on.
Do they still use it?
Yeah, they still do. Yeah, I mean they get
Oh,
different.
okay.
They still get. I mean, obviously the dog ages up and they have to replace it, which they do.
Yes.
It's not the same dog, but they still do. They still have the dog for adverts. Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, you learn something new every day.
Well done.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, the Lumo livery, I quite like it. Yeah, it's obviously boring, but that's kind of the point. It's a be like, oh, we're not flashy. We don't bother too much about the sort of extra details. It's simple, but it's decent. And yeah, that's the brand. That's the livery. It works.
I get that from an aspect, because from certain aspects, since what's it called? It's like single class, all like 2+2 seating throughout, but that's just boring.
I think they have updated it now.
Oh, they
with,
did. I forgot to mention
circles. Yeah, and that does look better, I think.
Go figure. I think I do have a not the best picture as I took. I tried to take a picture of it, but at least I'll probably might share another one if I do find it. So I have seen the update, and that does improve it a little bit. Just a little bit, because there's at least an attempt being made. But I think they should have done a little bit more. It's first group. They're not like a random guy living off Granville Avenue off benefits, trying to secretly make a company. It's an actual company.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean, I agree. But I think they kind of have learned that, and gradually sort of, you can see they like add a stripe here and there, they add a circle. And I think within a bit of time, it'll start to become a pretty solid livery. I imagine you've seen they now have like the sort of whiskers by the side of the cab. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they have the circles, and now they have like sort of information about which door you want to get into to go into Newcastle or whatever.
What door is it? Where?
I don't quite know. You can just about see it, I think, in that photo. But like they have sort of for Newcastle on the door.
I didn't notice that. I'll take your word for it on the basis that I'm not really can't be bothered to go on the East Coast main line.
There's a bit of it, yeah. They just
why? Like, are people really that dumb?
I don't know. Yes. Yes, they are. I mean, we also have to remember that a lot of Lumo's passenger market are people who would otherwise be flying with budget airlines, and thus aren't really familiar with using trains. Wow. And with, of course, a plane, you just get in one door or whatever. With a train, you get in however many. So those signs are apparently quite reassuring.
I can accept that, but surely people just know how to board a train. Oh, never mind. Okay.
You'd think so, but people can always surprise you.
Well, there was a reason why there was like I remember hearing a quote from a park ranger saying the reason why it's so difficult to make certain things you need to be protection for humans is that there's a very fine line between the smartest bear and the dumbest human.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. Fair enough then. Let's go to your number 4, please.
Okay, my number 4 is I'm using a Sprinter to depict it again. The Reaver Trains Wales. I don't know how you're going to feel about that. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, okay, obviously the Sprinter was stuff the 1x3, but no, why?
I think it was unbelievably dull. Like, when you see that, again, a little bit like the Northern livery, it just screams, we don't care. Aww. It's a boring livery. The colours are washed out to a ridiculous degree. It looks old. This staggered on until like 2020. It's unacceptable, really. Well, okay, hyperbole. Obviously, it's acceptable, but it did not at all give the right impression. It really missed the mark. And when you couple this with Arriva's general sort of dismantling of the Welsh railway network over 20 years, I know obviously we've got to take the liveries out of context, I know, but this screams, we hate you. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame, because, I mean, I like the Arriva Cotswold Stone and this version, on the buses. And on the
buses, it depends. The thing is, when it was new, okay, it kind of worked. Problem was, they just never updated it. Well, they did update the livery, but they never reapplied it. So that by 10 years in or whatever, the colours had faded so much, it just looked like nothing like it was supposed to, and really cheap.
Yeah. Do you think it would have been better if they updated it alongside their buses? That means we would have had the...
Yes, definitely. If they had
even if they had the newest or even livery, because that would have been a thing.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
I just love your reaction, like, wait, no.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Gotta forget that. Absolutely.
Fair enough, then. I respect that, you know. Okay, so let's go on to my number 4. It should be number 2, but it's been bumped up because of how these lists work, so it's at number 4. I'm gonna go with West Midlands Railway.
Ooh, okay.
I really don't like this livery. Orange is a fine colour, but when it mixed with purple, it does not look. Looking at this livery. When I look at this livery, for some reason I get that it reminds me of Terry's chocolate oranges for some reason. Even though that's blue and
it needs blue, yeah, it needs blue.
Yeah.
This looks like Sainsbury's to me, definitely.
It does feel like a Sainsbury's brand you would expect to see. I don't think it looks that good on any of their trains. The West Midlands Railway livery I think is fine. It's but well.
What?
No, the West Midlands Railway. No. This. I meant the London North Western Railway livery.
Ah, yes. And it looks really good on the 730s.
It does.
Unbelievably good on the 730s.
Yeah, that's just a shame that they're currently suffering from Sky Vitus at the moment, so they're currently not, not really taking passengers into account. So London North Western Railway looks great, but this just looks horrible on leave. Thank goodness that this version is only applied to their newest, well, the 730 to my knowledge, because there are other I guess the 139 has it as well, but it's not as offensive on that as it is here. I don't think.
What sort of variant do you mean?
If you look at the 323, they have an outgoing version of this livery.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the way. I think that's what they call it. So.
Well, it was a temporary one. They just covered the green of the London Midland with that gold. Yeah, the 172s have this, except instead of orange, they've got gold. But the 196s also have that one.
Yeah,
the orange one.
I wasn't completely thinking of what all the liveries like again because I got the memory of a colander when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'm afraid, but I just think it's an awful livery. I mean, on the plus side, you first. No, go on.
That's right. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think it looks all right when it's clean, but when it's dirty, not really. The colours complement each other reasonably well. Yeah. I think.
In all fairness, I don't think there are many train liveries that look better when it's dirty. Though if there are any...
Yeah, I mean, that's true, yeah.
If there are any, feel free to point them out to us. Just a new...
They must exist. They must exist.
There's probably one out there that exists. Alright, so please, your number 3, s'il vous plaît.
My number 3? Okay. We're going back to Wales. This one's really funny. It's kind of a one-off. I'm not really sure if we're allowed to joke about it. But
go ahead, I don't really mind. I'll laugh at anything.
The Mark IV War Memorial livery. What on earth were they thinking?
Okay, obviously, I think people are. Hopefully, the viewers we have here aren't dumb enough to realise, if just because we think the livery sucks doesn't mean we're disrespecting those who died in the war. That's not the point.
No, right? Obviously, yeah. I think actually in many ways that makes it worse. Obviously, for a war memorial livery, you want something very respectful, and clearly they've tried. They put a lot of effort in, but the blue. Why? The whole train is black. And they haven't even blended it in. They have literally just put the blue directly over it. I've genuinely not got any idea what they were thinking here. How did they decide that they looks like they just got the image, hovered over the train model in PowerPoint and then printed it out.
It's so cheap. Yes, I really don't like it because of that. Because of the cheapness of it. Because there are really good memorial liveries, and the first one that comes to mind is the one on the 91s.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one.
For the Fallen, but here it's like, it's due today. Ugh. Let's get the printer out. And then just stick it on with Pritt stick on a DVT.
The thing is, Transport for Wales do this a lot. I think
a few
all
other
their
ones as well.
Yeah, all their advertising liveries on the Mark IVs just have like the box on the side. And come on, really?
I think I know why. I think they're just taking they don't want to take any risks in case the service flops and they have to get rid of them. I feel like that's the reason why. They're trying to save as much money as possible.
They've sunk so much into them. They've re-liveried a lot of the 67s and all of the DVTs apart from the Grand Central ones, and they've done a lot of interior work too. Like, it's too late now. But
well, every little helps. You were. I'm just trying to think in their heads. You're not thinking right. You just ain't doing it right. All right. So, is there anything else you wanted to say about this, or is it just
No, that's it. It's an ugly livery.
Yep, I agree. It sucks. Okay, so for my number 3, it's going to be kind of interesting because it's not just... Well, I mean, it is one livery, but it's the plot. You might have seen it quite often around the world. Well, or around the UK, I should say. Every single train livery that is just white. Every single one.
Yeah.
Is at number 3. It's, to me, the sign of no effort at all. And now there are some liveries which it's predominantly white, like Transport for Wales, and using the same train as an example, like a 153. If I can get a decent.
Well, the Transport for Wales livery, what they do is it's sort of white if it's an old train, but it's a grey if it's a new one.
I didn't notice any grey myself, but I'll believe you because I haven't seen the 196 in the flesh. No, not 197.
197, yeah. You can kind of see here, the 197s are more grey, and obviously the idea is that if they're keeping them around, it makes sense to put them in grey. But if they're going, it's best to keep them in kind of the white default.
Yeah, it definitely requires a squint, honestly. But I believe you, I think so. Although, again, using Transport for Wales as an example, with Transport for Wales, they've at least had an attempt at trying to not make it fully white. There's a red strip at the top and a little black strip around the windows using this 153.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I love black window surrounds. You just cannot not do them.
No, I'll confirm that is an excellent idea. I like that. So in that aspect, it's fine. I'm okay with that. But the liveries where it's just completely white, it just says to me, it just says work in progress, or even just we don't care. Come on, put some effort in.
Yeah, it screams temporary livery.
Yeah, and there's plenty others I can think of. Like, there's also ones that applied to the 442, where they first, actually, I don't even know. I don't think that one counts, because they didn't carry any passengers. No, I'm not going to say that one counts. But
Transport for Wales probably does it well, in that it's a temporary livery, but it doesn't look it. No. But with that Greater Anglia one that you showed before, that obviously looks like they don't want to keep that train around for any longer than absolutely necessary.
Exactly. So that's my reasoning. Every single livery that is just completely white, don't care about the door colour in this example, just very boring. We don't want to pay any more money to our paint shop, please. Just come on.
Yep.
So, please, I request your number 2.
Right, the second worst livery of the past 25 years, I think, is probably the current EMR.
Okay, that's kind of funny because, funnily enough, that was going to be my number 4, but it got pushed out on my list.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. That's why I was laughing so much. But please explain your reasoning.
Yeah, it's not a great photo there, but why? Like, genuinely, what they like? The EMR livery of purple isn't that bad. In fact, it's quite good. I think it looks very stylish. Problem is, when you're applying an interim livery, number 1, I get why you'd want to do that. But why leave the blue in? And in fact, on some trains, they've added in blue where it didn't exist before.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. I believe you,
Like,
though.
what? The blue adds one too many colour to the mix. Secondly, the white doesn't really work. The grey band, why?
Well, that one's
it is
just...
a discordant mess.
Yeah, I guess they just don't know what to do with it, which is a very, very symbolic way of looking at how with the meridians as well. So, points for that. Come on.
Yeah. I guess that they didn't want to vinyl the whole train in purple because that's too expensive.
Probably.
So instead, they just covered over the stagecoach livery in parts, but they left the windows. Why? And why use grey? Why not have a purple skirt?
I'm afraid
that
that's
would make
just
a lot
not
more
an
sense.
option.
It's just nothing about it makes sense. It looks atrocious.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I was okay with this livery for quite a while, surprisingly.
Okay.
Because I just didn't really find it that bad? Question mark? I don't know how the best way to word this is. But realistically, when you're wording it like this and you're showing it here, like, it does feel a bit discordant. Like, there's no real, yeah, I mean, the blue surrounds worked on the East Midlands Railway livery, I think. That worked fine. But for this, I think they should have changed it into a different colour. That would have helped. And if they made the skirt dark purple, or, you know, at least the same matching purple, then, again, I could probably agree with you as well.
Yeah, or even white. Just not another colour. It's not needed.
Yep, fair enough then. That's a perfectly reasonable way of looking at it. So yeah, this is your number 2, right? So my memory is that bad. My goodness. Okay, so let's go to my number 2 and let's get ready to rumble, boys! We going with this. I don't care. I hate the Gameboy 390. I have called it.
What?
I bloody hate this livery. It is such an eyesore to me, for starters. It's like a flashbang.
Yeah, I guess that's the
joke.
point.
Yes, I guess. I made a very subtle joke about this livery in the 390 review, where I put the number of it that flashes very briefly when I'm talking about how the livery could be worse. But okay, so I need to sort of explain. Like, obviously, when people hear any criticism to LGBT stuff, they think you're against it. No. That's got nothing to do with it at all. I mean, if you've seen the images I use in my videos, how can it not be? But that's not the point. The point here is that when I look at this livery, Jordan, it feels like. Imagine if for me, like, my parents are from the Caribbean, my mum is from Grenada. Now imagine if I was to walk into Tesco and they all jumped up at me and saying, "Congratulations!" What? You're from Grenada! We love Grenada! We got new nutmeg aisle over here! And I look at it and I see a nutmeg aisle. They've got, instead of normal British pounds, they've changed the colour of it to look like Grenadian dollars. They put palm trees. There is even a bat in the corner, just on the top of the in the wall. Just all that kind of stuff, like, very tropical. And heck, they'll even have an area that is damaged by a hurricane, just for laughs, because, you know, Grenada gets owned by hurricanes. This is what this livery feels like to me, especially with the new Pride flag having dark skin colours on it. Because why? I don't like. We're normal human people. Don't talk down to me like this. And I don't need that. I really don't need that. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
I mean, I think the true end point of equality is that you don't need anything like that. And
exactly.
No one. I mean, I suppose it's like the equivalent of colourblindness, in that no one cares.
Yeah. I was also going to say, like, you first. No, you first. Go on.
Okay. I think, taken completely in isolation, though.
Yeah.
The livery itself, I think, is probably the best Pride livery on the railways.
What other options do you have to go with? Come on.
It's busy, but the colours, I do think, complement each other. It's impressive. I can see why you wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But I myself, I don't quite know how to explain it, because I mean, I know I've before been criticizing too many colors, but I think here it's kind of owning it. It like there are loads of colors, and that's the point. And I think it pulls it off reasonably well. But obviously, there's room for disagreement there.
Yeah, definitely. I see what you mean, though. I'm not tone deaf to differing opinions. I just think this is a very insulting. Well, I think this is just very insulting to someone like me. I don't really need, like, no one goes. I don't go around asking people about their sexualities, and I also don't think the railway should be meddling in politics, because I will give you this crisp £5 note, GWVIllager, if you would approve of a livery that said, that had the Confederate flag and supported Nazism. Well, would you? Go on.
I mean,
it's all yours.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is that when you have these kind of liveries, it's clearly leaning to one side of the political spectrum, which means, and obviously it basically means that if you can't do the opposite of this livery, then there's like a political message with that. And I know you could probably pick some.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you could argue the opposite. If you could say two things that were contradictory, it is political, obviously, because that's what politics is, it's disagreement. If it's unacceptable to say the other thing, can you really call that political? I mean, for example, take the sort of climate livery 390. You can do that, obviously, but if you were to paint the 390 in sort of we love climate change livery and cover it in oil or whatever, you couldn't really do that.
Yeah, that's the point.
Politics comes into it, but I still think it's acceptable to do that.
Well, I see what you mean. I just think the railway should be apolitical and not take sides in this, because this is clearly a side-taking matter. Oh, also, if First Group got purchased by a Saudi Arabia oil magnate, and this livery would have to go. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would. I don't know. I think there is an argument to be made that by doing things like this, the railway isn't actually getting much positive. I mean, image is the wrong word, but what's the positive benefit of this? Are people genuinely feeling more welcome as a result of it? Maybe. I don't know. If they are,
except
great.
If there are some, but if you are that easily swayed, then that's your thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if rail workers or passengers see a train like this and do feel more comfortable as a result, great. But equally, I wonder if it. I mean, I saw what Lawrence Fox, I think, talking about this. He saw this train, he was very angry, and he got hundreds of thousands of Twitter likes or whatever, because he was complaining about this train. If all it really does is bring negative attention to the railway and bring a lot of sort of people you don't really want complaining about you and demonizing you, is that really a win?
Not really.
I don't know.
But I see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean.
And keep in mind, this is number 2. That's see how annoyed I got, and that was number 2. So please, go with your number 1. I am really, really curious of what your number 1 is.
My number 1.
I know of a few obscure liveries, but I don't know what yours is going to be.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this. Oh. The National Express has got a rail livery.
Okay, I was a bit surprised that you picked that as your number 1, but I'm also not surprised that it's on the list. So
yeah, but why? What on earth? How is 1? It's not related to National Express in any way. 2, it's not related to Scotland in any way.
Well, yeah, I would never associate any of those colours with Scotland at all.
No, and it doesn't even look good. Like, what's the point? What does this say to you? Nothing.
It says,
ow, my eyes. Yeah.
All that.
Yeah, like, I don't think I need to give much more explanation. It's hideous.
Honestly, that's enough for me. If you don't have anything else to say, because I'm just looking at that and go, it is a bit of a mess. There might. Yeah, I really want to know if the colours do have some symbolism to them. I really want to know that.
They probably do, but frankly, I don't care. I mean, look at the colour spacing. the sort of gap between the blue and the green is quite large.
Yeah, but
and then the gap between the blue and the red doesn't exist, but then does exist, except it's really small a little later. But like, why? Who thought of this?
It's just sort of, yeah, it's just, I'm looking at Wikipedia now on ScotRail, and it doesn't say anything about explaining the colour choice.
No,
I mean,
I guess maybe something for another time to look into.
Absolutely, because I would try and argue that the livery looks better on the 156 and 158, but it doesn't, because that's the exact same errors as well.
Yeah,
That's
in fact,
really
arguably
dumb.
it looks worse, because it's just much more solid on those.
Yeah, I mean, because the Turbo Stars has the curvedness at the front, so it tries to make it look a little bit better, but garbage livery. You're right.
Yeah, Oh, actually, I found a website about it.
Ooh, excellent.
It was devised by Glasgow-based Randak design consultants. Note to self, never use their services. There was a simplified version of it, which, yeah, I'll post a photo to that, which doesn't look much different, it just doesn't have that swoop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't...
I've seen another version whilst I was just checking now. There's, I don't even think calling it version is a stretch and a half, honestly. The green stripe is a bit thinner.
Yeah, I see that.
But,
Okay, is that in Wales?
yes, it is. It's they nicked it from Wales, from ScotRail.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've just had a look. Apparently, Randak design consultants don't exist anymore,
I wonder
as
why.
their link redirects to a Thai betting firm.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay.
Oh, well.
So I think it's now time for my number one least favourite livery of them all. And surprisingly, this one is actually quite a new one. Sorry. My number one is the cross...
What?
No, wait. It's the Grand Central applied to the Voyager. Specifically applied to the Voyager. Grand Central...
Whoa.
No, you need to let me hear me out for this.
Okay.
Because all of the liveries we have been going through have one thing in common, even the Game Boy Shippuden 390. All of them have one thing in common. They are all finished. This isn't.
Yeah.
Because the three center coaches are just not done. They're still in the old, I can't even call it Avanti, it's the old Virgin livery with the doors the different colour. Even the roof is still red, if you look at the image there.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, it's not... I have to give it the number one position, because at least everything else is finished. Here, it's like, they put so much work into doing that, making the curve fit the bottom of the train, on the end coaches, and then the guy was really happy, and then they said, what do you mean I have to do there's more than two cars on this train?
Yeah, thank you for your services, yeah.
Either that or he went to do a new job at Boeing and mysteriously disappeared. But as far as I'm concerned, that's just so finish your crap, man!
Yeah, okay, I mean, I completely agree. It is utterly stupid that they've only done the end cars.
Yeah.
And the roof, this annoys me so much. Cross Country do it too. Just paint the roof. What's so hard? Why do Voyagers all have to have red roofs?
They couldn't afford a step ladder at Crofton Depot.
Yeah, actually it looks like that. You can sort of see it's at the door height, and then above that they're like, oh, no, doesn't matter.
Oh no, two lads just like, it's knocking off time, mates, for me.
Oh, well look at that, it's 5 o'clock. Yeah, but the shame, the problem is, it's a really good lyric. It suits the train so well. Like, the Voyagers look amazing in that.
I agree.
If they did a whole train, it would look fantastic.
If they did the whole
Easily
train, I would have put it. Yeah, I probably would have put it on the list. But
yeah,
they didn't. They couldn't.
Somehow they just didn't. It's a shame. The Voyagers kind of have this happen throughout their entire career. Like, they could be amazing. They just don't. they don't quite do it. And like the cross country livery, they just botch it. It's not a new livery. They just put purple over the old Virgin red and left the roof and all of that. It's laziness appears to be applied to the Voyagers whenever they're used. Really weird.
It's a shame. It really is a shame. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. If they bothered finishing the bloody livery, I probably would have liked it.
Me too.
Well, there you go, everybody. That concludes our lists. Thank you very much. If you have any other complaints, please send them to yourself. I'm kidding. Just you can always tell us if you have any complaints or
in the comments.
In the comment section below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me, GWVIllager. This was very fun looking at all of our favourite liveries and least favourites.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, no, it's been good. And yeah, thank you for watching as well.
Thank you very much for watching. See you, everybody, and goodbye.